What's up, guys? Welcome to Touchdown Talk, where everything and anything football goes. I'm your host, Jason, and today we have a huge episode. We had some breaking news on Wednesday, but we're going to get kick-started with Tuesday, where we did get some news on Demaryius Thomas that he did have stage 2 chronic CTE. So he had stage 2 CTE. That was reported on Tuesday after they did all the stuff on him. And then Des Bryant on his Instagram said a lot of current and former NFL players are living with CTE following the news of Demaryius Thomas. He then wrote on his Instagram, DT88, my heart weak, bro. It's a lot of us living with CTE and the NFL know it. Most importantly, the athletes who have those symptoms are scared to speak. One thing about me, ain't living no false life. My love and support for athletes are on a much deeper level than most. Now, obviously this is devastating news, but the NFL knows that this goes on and fans know it, people know it. This goes on all the time now. When you take a bunch of hits in the NFL and you're getting hit constantly, you're at practice, you're in games, and you have a longer career, you're more likely to get CTE just because of the amount of hits you take, the amount of contact you have to endure. And it's not just games, it's practices, it's then playoffs, and it's off the field when you're doing your own training. So a lot of it goes into it, and it is sad to hear, but it is something that we know goes on. Now, hopefully, we can use technology to prevent this at most possible, but it is something that is very challenging and that a lot of athletes deal with, and it's just very sad. And obviously Des Bryant wanted to speak on it after the news came out about Demaryius Thomas. Then we had some news on Tuesday that Ian Rapoport said, and I quote, "I don't know what's going to happen with Baker Mayfield, but the Seahawks have never really been that interested in him." Now, he said that on the Pat McAfee show, and we kind of brushed over it because it wasn't huge news on Baker. It wasn't something that we needed to really talk about because it's just another update on Baker Mayfield's situation. But today, on Wednesday, we had breaking news on Baker Mayfield, and that is that he has been traded to the Carolina Panthers for only a 2024 conditional 5th-round pick. Now, they got this deal done per Ian Rapoport and Tom Pelissero. Then they said that the deal is pending a physical and that all parties will split the financials on the deal. Then Mike Garafolo reported that the Browns will pay Baker Mayfield $10.5 million, which they trim $8 million off of what they have to pay. And then the Panthers will pay Baker $5 million, and Baker agreed to trim $3.5 million off of his base salary deal. So he takes a little bit of a pay cut so that the trade can happen, so that he can be traded to get out of Cleveland. And the biggest news here, not only does Baker reunite with Sam Darnold, the 1st and 3rd overall pick in the 2018 draft in Carolina, but Baker Mayfield and the Panthers face the Cleveland Browns week 1. Now, this is huge because it is a revenge game right off the bat. There is no waiting. There is all this anger that's going to come out week 1 on whatever team it is. It's the Browns. Baker doesn't have to take his anger out on a different team. He doesn't have to take all his frustration out and put it towards another team because week 1 is the Browns. And all that frustration, all the anger, all the built-up tension throughout this offseason that Baker has to endure, that he had to endure the Deshaun Watson trade. He had to endure all the rumors, everything that the Cleveland did on him, all the disrespect he felt. He now gets to throw all that right back to Cleveland week 1 in Carolina. Cleveland's coming down to Carolina to face the Panthers, and Baker Mayfield, the first time running out of that tunnel, is going to get a standing ovation from the crowd of the Panther faithful. He's going to get a standing ovation, and then the Browns are going to have to watch Baker Mayfield go to work. Now, it's not going to be a happy reunion like it is with Seattle and Russell Wilson, where they're going to love him. This is going to be a demonstration of how angry Baker Mayfield is towards the Browns, and I'm excited to watch Baker Mayfield. I'm excited to see him thrive in that Carolina offense with Christian McCaffrey, who's back, with Robbie Anderson, who didn't want him, tweeted in response to an Instagram post, no, he commented with multiple O's, But I love Baker Mayfield in Carolina. I really wanted him to go there. He has Robbie Anderson. He has DJ Moore. He has Terrace Marshall. So it's going to be a great offense for Baker. Now, hopefully he can thrive. They do have a little bit of a tough schedule, but I'm hoping Baker Mayfield can prove all of the doubters and haters wrong this season in Carolina. Now, moving on from Baker Mayfield and an update on another quarterback, and that is Kyler Murray. Now, Lindsey Jones of The Athletic reported the ice between Murray and the Cardinals has thawed substantially since earlier this offseason, in the wake of Murray attending some voluntary workouts and mandatory minicamps. So it looks like the Kyler Murray situation is going into the right direction. Maybe a reunitement with him and the Cardinals, a deal done, something of the sort. It does look, based on this report, that they are heading into the right direction, that they are going on to good terms and moving aside from all the turmoil that they faced earlier in the offseason. And then some news on the Chicago Bears. Now, a mayoral committee is poised to recommend the city explore the feasibility of putting a dome atop Soldier Field in effort to make the facility more attractive to potential users. Now, the dome would require some sort of taxpayer subside, with an estimated total cost between $400 million and $1.5 billion. Now, this reported by Greg Hinz of Crane's Chicago Business. And this is big news because we've known Chicago to be one of those colder cities to play in, the windy city. We know what it's like to play in Chicago because teams go there not to be comfortable, but they go there to have to deal with the conditions, deal with the crowd, deal with the cold weather, the snow. And if they put a dome on the stadium, it kind of takes away from the atmosphere, kind of takes away from the stadium. So this is going to be something to watch to see if something does come from this. I don't think something will, because we know Chicago to be one of those cities where you don't want to go to, you don't want to play. And maybe now that they're trying to change it to come with the new times, maybe concerts, other venues, but it will take away from the Bears facility, from the Bears stadium itself, and what it means to the fans and other teams having to go play there. So it is something to watch for, just because of the importance of the stadium and how it's been for many years. And then lastly, the bit of news we had was on Terry McLaurin. Now, McLaurin spoke about Carson Wentz, saying, and I quote, "During the process, he reached out to me. That's why I can't wait to get out there and start throwing with him. I'm really excited to see what he does." This per John Keem. So McLaurin happy to get his deal done, obviously excited to stay in Washington, and it looks like he is enjoying Carson Wentz being there, and he's hopeful that him and Carson Wentz can get that chemistry, get that connection down ahead of the season. And then staying with Terry McLaurin, this time Ron Rivera talking about Terry McLaurin, and Ron Rivera saying he's an organizational signing. It impacts not just the football side, but the business side. It tells people we want to retain young men of his stature. We want young men of magnitude out there representing our organization. This also per John Keem. So a lot of news this week, obviously most about Baker Mayfield. That is the most breaking news that we had. Obviously the saga is over, the drama is done. Baker Mayfield heads to Carolina. And then a bit of an update on Kyler, more news on McLaurin. But that is going to be it for this episode of NFL News in 10 minutes or less. Episode 7 of the series. Now, episode 8 will be out on Friday. And tomorrow, if you have been keeping up with yesterday's episode, and you have been keeping up with my past episodes, that I am doing an offensive and defensive weapon series. Now, yesterday, which was Tuesday, I did my first episode, which was the NFC East, and tomorrow, which is Thursday, will be episode 2, which is the AFC East. So I will link down below my past episode, which is episode 1 of offensive and defensive weapons, along with episode 6 of NFL News in 10 minutes or less. And once again, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy my content, I will see you guys next time.